everyone, hope you are good and be happy always. Once again, welcome to Shachi's Academy. Now we will discuss part 2 of chapter 5, that is your human capital formation in India. So let's start with it. Sources of human capital or determinants of human capital. Number 1, expenditure on education, expenditure on health, on-the-job training, study programs for adults, migration, expenditure on information. All these are the factors which lead to adding more expertise and skills in human beings. So what do? We get more education. In that manner, we acquire more skills and better brain power. Expenditure on health. When we spend on health, that means we are gaining strength. Say for example, if I am anemic, then I'll take iron tablets or iron tonics. Okay. And if I have certain vitamin D deficiency, I can take some medicines. In that manner, what will happen? I'll become robust in health and I can function well. That means these are determinants. Then on the job training, if I get training regularly, maybe some faculty development programs or maybe other type of trainings, then my skills can be upgraded. In the similar manner, doctors go to conferences, lawyers also attend some seminars and conferences. They regularly read, they keep on habit of studying journals, scientific journals, etc., and law journals for lawyers, etc. So in that manner, they can upgrade their knowledge. So on the job training, on the campus training for MBA students or other people can help them upgrade their skills. The study programs for adults, government and NGOs involve themselves in imparting education to people who have become adults and who did not have chance in their life to get education on time. So NGOs and government take up such type of initiatives. Then migration to better paying places for full utilization of skills. For example, if there is a doctor, he is very much skilled and he is a surgeon, but in a certain rural area, he does not have equipment and hospital where he can do some surgery. But if he migrates to some larger city, he can get employment in certain big hospital and there he can do surgeries, there he can treat the patients and who will pay them higher amount also, and he will get better experience and better skill upgradation. Then expenditure on information, job bulletins, training programs, etc. help you to recognize the places or to get information about the jobs which are available elsewhere in the market. For example, if I am staying in Delhi but I don't have job opportunities over here, but if I go to Bangalore or if I go to Hyderabad, I may have certain better job opportunities for me at least, and the environment is maybe also very good. So in that case, I can migrate there. But if I don't have information at all, then how can I migrate? So job bulletins and training programs help you to migrate to the places where you can function well and earn well. Then human capital formation and economic growth or significance of human capital formation. Changes in emotional and material environment of growth. Higher productivity of physical capital through better trained professionals, engineers and technicians, more innovations and inventions. High rate of participation and equality, more professionals, more work and growth. So, what is significance of human capital formation in your economic growth? These are there. Changes in emotional material environment. When a person gets educated and trained, he is better in emotional terms and the environment of growth increases manyfold. How? Educated people may get better employment, they improve the society, their mentality is better than uneducated people, and emotional environment also improves due to education. Then, high productivity of physical capital. When you are trained, you can use your machines nicely. See, if there is a machine and if you don't have an engineer or trained professionals, that machine can't function well. But if you have an engineer over there and if you have a technician to work on that machine can give its maximum output and support your business. In that manner, skilled professionals add to your production and ultimately add to the GDP of the nation and economic growth of the nation. Then high rate of participation in equality. When people get education or skill or expertise on job trainings, they get better employment, they participate in many activities, they can go for many types of jobs and they can uplift the society and more professionals can work more and lead to more growth. So that means education and professionalism can increase your growth of nation. Then problems facing human capital formation in India. Rising population, that is a perennial problem, that is a continuous problem India is facing. Every year, large number of people get added to workforce, and there is huge pressure on your health facilities, on your education facilities, etc. And that is the reason that low per head availability of facilities is low in India. Why? Because government no doubt is increasing facilities, but with increasing population they all get consumed very quickly. So we are never apt with, or we are never at the maximum rate of growth that we can achieve, because our population rate is very high. That brain drain. You might have heard, I am studying in such and such college, I'll settle in Canada, I'll settle in America. Lot many students out here go for education to other nations, or they get training over here and go to work in other nations. That is brain drain. That means trained professionals move out of India for earning purposes and they settle out there. That means they were born in India, India supported them since their childhood, but they moved to other nations to develop other nations, and India is suffering on account of that. Deficient manpower planning, lack of qualitative education and training. See, nowadays people are getting degrees, they are getting education also, but that education is not qualitative. People may not know the real essence of education, and in-depth education is lacking. Only degree education is going on there. There are lot many degree holders, but if you ask them something, they may not be able to answer the questions correctly, and they may not be able to function nicely if they are required to do any job. That is your deficient manpower planning and insufficient on-the-job training in primary sector. See, agriculture and allied sectors like fisheries and your sericulture, etc., and your horticulture, there's plantation, etc., we don't have much training. Farmers do not have much training. They do not know what type of soil is they are having in their fields. They do not know what type of crop should be sowed or planted in their fields so that they can earn maximum profit out of their farming. So in allied sectors also, just like in dairy farming, other agro-based industries also, people do not have training and they are just functioning. They are doing their production but not up to the maximum output. Low academic standards, skill deficient degree holders. I just told you, people are holding degrees but they do not have that skill. The importance of education for human resource development. Education produces responsible citizens. It develops science and technology, all of us know. It facilitates use of natural and human resources in all regions of the country. See, if you are educated, if you are trained professional, then you can go to any part of country. You can just start your own small scale industry. You can lead to development of your nation. You can get employed in some school or college. You can educate people. Or if you are an engineer, you can improve the industry of your nation. So here, it facilitates use of natural resources and human resources of the nation, if you are trained professionals. It expands mental horizon of people, of course, then it helps economic development through greater participation of the people in the process of growth and development. It promotes cultural standard of the citizens and it develops human personality. The whole personality of the person improves if he gets educated and trained well. So it is a main component. Human resource is the main component of your capital formation in the nation, and secondly for economic development and growth and elevating up the level of your human development index and human welfare. The need for government intervention in education and health. See, when India embarked or started on its economic planning, public sector enterprises were given the key role. That means government played a key role or very important role in your economic development of the nation since the beginning of your economic planning, that is 1951. Why? Because government was the only entity that was having that much amount of funds or money which could be invested in large scale development of your nation, because building schools for whole nation was not possible for any private individual or private company, so it was taken up by Government of India. Here, three sectors need huge investment with very high fixed expenditure. That is, education needs huge investment. It is difficult to expect private investors to invest in health and education unless they are allowed to recover their huge cost through high price of these services. Initially, when India gained independence, Indian people were not that rich and everyone could not pay higher amount for education. But if private schools were established, if education was left to private individuals, then private schools could have been built in some regions, but they would have charged more fees, higher fees. Right now also, that currently if we go to some private schools and if we go to government school, the fees of government school is much lesser in comparison to your private schools. And that was the reason that government took the initiative of establishing schools for people in India. Then people in poor country like India cannot afford high price for education and health. And that was also the reason that government took initiative of participating in education provision. That individual consumers of these services are unaware about the quality and cost of these services, which leads to the exploitative behavior of private service providers. You might have seen in private schools, many times teachers are not taking classes, students are not given facilities which are promised at the time of admission. In that case, what is happening? They are charging you more, but they are giving you inferior type of services. And that exactly is the thing which people cannot differentiate from from government schools and private schools. In some of the government schools, education is really very nice. Okay, and people just get blinded with the pomp and show of private schools, and they pay more fees. So they are not the right judges of what type of services private schools are providing and what type of payment they are taking from them, extracting from parents actually. Government intervention is to ensure that these service providers adhere to stipulated standards. So government intervenes in these private schools also. They cannot charge very exorbitant fee rates or very high prices for their education, and government takes initiatives for that. When basic education and healthcare is considered as rights of citizens, the government needs to make provision for free of cost education and health services, at least for the backward sections of the society. Still, India is not an advanced nation. Large number of people in India are poor. They belong to backward sections of society. So what happens over here? India promised, it is in directive principles of state policy, and right to education and health is your right in India. So India provides basic education free of cost, and that is the very reason that government intervenes in education provision. Then measuring government expenditure as percentage of total expenditure of government and expenditure as percentage of GDP. So what is total expenditure? That is what is the amount of expenditure done on infrastructure, on agriculture, on defense, on education, etc. So government has different funds or amounts which it invests in different activities of the nation. So here we measure expenditure on education as percentage of total expenditure in this regard. Secondly, it can be measured as a percentage of GDP also for India. We have total amount of GDP in 1 year, and from that total GDP, what is the percentage that we are taking away to invest on education provisions? That is a percentage of GDP. Fine. Then, as per the Education Commission 1964-65, government should spend 6% of total GDP on education. In 1999, the government of India appointed the Tapas Majumdar Committee, which estimated that government needs to spend, and is left over here, rupees 1.37 lakh crore on education over a period of 10 years from 1998-1999 to 2006-07 to bring all children under age group of 6 to 14 years under education cover. So 1.6 lakh crore was the amount that was required to be invested at that time for 10 years continuously to bring all the children under the age group of 6 to 14 years under education cover. This is the relegation of your Tapas committee, and this is important and you can memorize that, and we have understood this. Then educational finance. Who spends on education and how much? The state government of India. State governments spend a huge amount of money on your education of their respective states. Then we have central government. It also invests annually on your education for all the states and for different provisions. Then the total percentage expenditure by the government, states as well as the states is 80 to 90%. Total percentage of expenditure that is done by government, that is state and central government, is 80 to 90%. Then the parents by way of fees, how much do they contribute? 4 to 5%. Okay. Then the private trusts like NGOs, etc. and trusts, education trusts, they invest 7% nearly. And the endowments, just like corporate social responsibility, like you can say Reliance donates some amount or Tata's invest some amount in education, that is about 3% of your total investment or expenditure on your education in India. Then educational achievements in India, institution primary and middle schools, in 1950-51 we had only 2.23 lakh institutions, but now we have in 2015-16 we had 12.70 lakh primary and middle schools. In secondary schools we had 7.4 thousand in 1950-51, but now we have 2.52 lakh. In a similar manner, the institutions, the number of universities, number of colleges, number of students in all these institutions has increased, and you can refer to this table. Important organizations, what are they? NCERT, that is National Council of Educational Research and Training. It is basically engaged in designing text material up to the senior secondary level, up to 12th level. It is engaged in your planning here all the textbooks, all the text material. Then UGC, University Grants Commission. It is primarily the funding authority for university education. It also enforces the rules and regulations regarding higher education in the country. So it takes care of higher education and grants. It provides grants to you. That means if you are in some university or college, you can apply for the grant and you get grant for research, etc. And then we have UGC, NET, JRF. You might have heard from your seniors that National Eligibility Test can be taken and you get grant for PhD and other scholarships for your research. Then AICTE, All India Council of Technical Education. It enforces rules and regulations regarding technical or engineering education in the country. Then ICMR, Indian Council for Medical Research. It enforces rules and regulations related to education and research in the health sector. So here medicine is there, here technical education is there, here research is there, and here your text material provision is there. So all these organizations take care of your education in India. Challenges of education: large number of illiterates, largest in the world. This is for the simple reason that we have largest number of people living in India, and that will also be the reason that inadequate vocationalization, degree-oriented education. See, we do not get on-the-job training or training that can be used for some technical purposes, or we can't go and work somewhere. It is only bookish knowledge we are having. It is theoretical knowledge. We don't have practical knowledge. We don't have vocational knowledge of becoming a carpenter or technician or any other skilled labor. It is only theoretical, degree oriented. That gender bias in male-female education. Still, in many parts of India, in many parts of regions and villages especially, women are differentiated from education. A male child is sent to school, but a female child is not sent to school, and that too is a problem in India. That low rural access level, very high disparity in education exists in India. In some of the villages in India, you don't find school, and school may be far away up till you move up till 50 kilometers, and then you may find a small school. That is the main problem in India, that people are not getting education nicely. Then privatization, out of reach of people. So in private schools, you can't admit your kid very easily because it is very expensive, so it is out of reach of poor. Only rich people can make their children to go in these private schools. Then low government expenditure on education, only 4 to 5% against 6% commitment. Previously it was committed that government will invest 6% of its expenditure on education, but it is investing only 4 to 5% of what it can. So this is all about your chapter 5. We have completed this chapter. If you have any sort of problem, you can just send in comments. We will be in contact with you people continuously, and we will be posting more and more videos. And up to chapter 5 we have completed, and now we will go for chapter 6. So take care, God bless you, work hard and study hard.